Our journey of Advent continues in these holy days, and you and I continue to make our reflections. These are offered to you as a moment of pause, of meditation, so that it can take you deeper in your own prayers as you and I make our way towards the celebration of Christmas. As you and I make our way towards the celebration of Christmas, we have to realize we first made our way out of paradise so that we can make our way on return to paradise. Today, I'd like to continue to reflect on these realities of the fall, but today with a special light for the experience of exile. It's so formative to the Jewish and the Christian mindset that it underlines so much of Scripture and the very work of what Jesus came to do, to heal, to redeem. Our first parents, Adam and Eve, when they disobeyed God, found themselves expelled from the earthly paradise that was the Garden of Eden. God ordered them out and stationed two angels with fiery swords to guard the gate so as to prohibit Adam and Eve from returning. And the earth, which was a barren waste, they then started walking through. Now, God, of course, will take care of them. He even sends them out with fig leaves, and they will grow plants, and they will establish communities, and there will be this wonderful reality by which the human race, even after the fall, will not lose all of God's blessing. But it must have been a hard reality. Imagine that you're Adam and Eve. You had known God. You had seen him face to face. There was an intimacy with the Lord. And you made the mistake. And now you're out and you take the human race with you. You had known something so good and better and other, and now you're reduced to this. Imagine the sadness and the sorrow that would have been on Adam and Eve, perhaps the regret that was upon them. You know, the tradition of the church counts them as saints and even assigns them a feast day, the 24th day of December, one day before the birth of Christ. Often in the East, the iconography of the resurrection sees Jesus grabbing Adam and Eve and taking them first out of the place of death, harrowing hell, and bringing them first to the life of the resurrection, the first parents. So you and I have hope for Adam and Eve, but we're honest about their experience and how this is going to be renewed generation upon generation. Oh, imagine the Jews when they fell into times of exile and they were expelled from the Holy Land, taken off to the north and then to Babylon. Their experience was they needed to be where God was. They had known his goodness, his blessing. As they left, it purified their hearts if they but knew what they were missing. Have you had the experience of exile, of being far from God, perhaps being far from one you love, being away from home and not knowing if you can return? There's a sadness that can set into our hearts. We have to be honest about that. But there's also the awakening of a desire to be home and to be with the ones that we love and ultimately to be back with God. So we look to that experience of exile, of being kicked out, of being away, and knowing that something stirs so deeply in our heart that we want to move back in right directions. We want to be with the one who loves us. Here's the good news. The one who loves us came on exile to find us, to seek and search us out, and draw us from the place of exile back to the place of choice and love, and to restore not an earthly garden, but an eternal paradise. May God continue to bless you in these beautiful days of Advent.